When did football cards start? What are football cards like in 2025? And is this going to be another boring history lesson? Let's dive in. So football cards, they didn't just start recently. Yes, we all love our shiny pieces of cardboard. Oof, I do love my shiny modern pieces of cardboard with Hyun-Min Son on them. But football cards haven't just started recently. But I know you're also thinking, why do I care? Knowledge is, what's that phrase?
Wow, you sure know a lot of stuff.
It's great to learn.
Because knowledge is power.
Exactly. Knowledge is power. So let's jump in the DeLorean. Let's get scooting along and let's go through these phases, the exciting times and the way our favorite collecting thing of football cards has changed. So as you can see on screen, I categorize this in 4 different sections. We've got the tobacco era, we've got the post-World War II era, and we've got pre-modern and modern. So tobacco era is when it really kicked off. It got started in 1986 by Marcus & Co. Tobacco. They did quite a large 100-card set of players. As you can see, they look quite very old school. Now, you might be sitting there right now and thinking, why on earth would you sell football cards with tobacco? It was kind of a double strategy. First off, there were so many companies trying to vie for people's attention in the tobacco industry that if you gave this little incentive for people to keep buying your products, such as football cards, it would kind of garner some loyalty in a lazy but effective way. The other thing is things like these drawings, which were photography of drawings, they were still a rare commodity. Simply put, in 1886, you didn't have a flashy looking phone that you could take photos on the go and post anywhere you like. So photography was really rare. So it was kind of a smart move at the time in many aspects by Marcus & Co. In 1906, things changed just a little bit. Ogden's Footballers and Club Colours came out, and this was a big change because now we've got colour cards. It's not just the black and white cards. And as you can see, we got some stylish and very handsome men. Oh, look at this one. I mean, that's not bad. That's a pretty decent stash. That one, wow, he's a gentleman and a scholar. This one, I'm not sure about him. And you had, hang on, has he got a potato of a head? Yeah, I think he's got a potato for a head. So things started to change. 1906, we started to get colour. That made things even more exciting. No longer was it a little piece of cardboard of black and white. We now got some vibrant colour. In 1907, Taddy & Co. released a massive 595 card set into their tobacco, and they at the time introduced what many people believe are very iconic shaped images. These 5 gentlemen played for Sunderland. Then just before World War II, from 27 to 33, tobacco companies saw the massive popularity in these cards that they started to sell just albums full of them, and they were so popular that London Cigarette Card Company opened a store dedicated just solely to the sale and trade of football cards in 1927. So think about that. Actual football card store originated in 1927. That's wild. That is wild. And then World War II happened. And as some of you may or may not know, when World War II was happening, things were rationed and importance was moved from certain things. So, for example, paper and cardboard that was given and allowed to be used for these cigarette football cards was no longer allowed to be done. So it had to be rationed and put to further use. This, of course, led to football cards dying and the importance of it very much fading. During the tobacco phase of football cards, looking back on them now, they have not necessarily players you will know, but they will be from teams or nations you will know. So I would say that you know, even if you aren't into a certain player, like we've got T.S. Tate. Was it Tit? No, Tate. Sorry, T.S. So even if you don't know who he is, but you are a fan of Sunderland, that's quite an iconic card. It was released in 1907, and you can have a piece of history in your hands. Of course, being that old now, these cards will understandably have some quality concerns, and what I mean by that is they can look pretty rough. Having a card from 1907 in mint condition is going to be pretty hard to obtain. But if you get some of these in your collection, treat them like antiques. Treat them like the iconic snapshot of the past of this wonderful game. So after World War II, cards came back around 1950. The UK decided to follow the US's trend, which was a weird trend, but a notable trend, is putting chewing gum with football cards. In London, A and B C chewing gum started kicking off. They released their first full dedicated set to football cards in 1958, and that had 92 cards in them. They are known for the vibrant colours and amazing photography on them. Unfortunately, A and B C ended in 1974 when the company shut down. Now, as you can see on your screen there, we've got gentleman handsome himself, Graham Souness. Drink it in. I don't know about that collar, though. That collar seems like a very interesting choice. Like, that's fabric on fabric. That couldn't have been comfortable because, you know, the other two lads over here don't have it. So I don't know why Middlesbrough decided to. We've got Alan Griezmann. Come on, you Spurs. Oh, and the legend himself, the iconic man himself, Harry Redknapp. So in the 60s, Panini emerges, and they start printing in 1961. They focused predominantly on having cards that you could put some glue on the back and then put into an album. So in many aspects, and pretty much in certainty, they started the sticker album. Panini, of course, remained quite dominant for many, many decades. In the 70s, Panini released a 1970 Mexico set. As you can see on screen, there's the Pelé. That card is so iconic in the football world. These cards, because they were stickers, it's very hard to find them in great condition or decent condition individually. Interestingly, also in the 70s, Topps appeared in the football market around 1975, and they were doing both cards and stickers at the time. So if you're looking at what players you'd consider worthy or notable from the post-World War II era, we're talking Pelé, of course. We're talking Maradona, Eusebio, Puskas, Cruyff. These kind of players still to this day have a high demand and a high value on them. The next phase was pre-modern. We're talking around 89 to 2014. In 89, Topps, having been a massive force in America, they came to Europe and they bought Merlin and changed their names to Topps Europe. In 94, they began making their Premier League stickers. I remember having a 94 set. I think I had a 95 set as well. I remember having this Tottenham page, and it was my main goal to fill it out. Except, of course, him. You Judas. If you know, you know. As the years rolled on in the 90s and 2000s, stickers kept dominating. For some reason, which was due to not only manufacturers but also the collectors themselves, trading cards seemed to come and go with little success. Very few sets were made, and very few to this day are seen in any way as something that should be kept. On screen, we've got 3 sets in particular that are very iconic to this day. You got the 96 Merlin Premier League Gold. There you see Beckham in what many people consider his rookie card. You got the Messi from 2004's Panini Mega Cracks. That's his rookie card, many people say. And 2004, you also had Upper Deck. They got in the market for a little bit. And as you can see there, there's a Ronaldo. In the modern era, you know, the names that pop out of you are the David Beckham, the Messi, and the Ronaldo. The other names that are massive comes down to personal choice, comes down to the club you love, comes down to any player you had a connection with. And then that brings us to the last phase, which is modern, which is 2014 onwards. This is a time of innovation, implementation of different styles and photography. We start getting parallels, autographs, patches, case hits, inserts, you name it, we now have it. As you can see on screen, we've got a selection of everything, and in many aspects, it has pushed the hobby forward. You can get whatever you want of whatever team you want or player you want. Now, during this modern era, Topps had the English Premier League license until 2019. 2019, Panini got the rights, and from next season, it's going to be back to Topps. Now, many consider the modern era that we're in the junk era. What that means is mass production, no real long-term value on your shiny cards. I'd love to hear down below if you think we are in a junk era of football cards. I think we are on the verge. I think we're just about to get into the junk era, which is a scary thought because it means that we are going to have too much all the time. There's no longer any scarcity. And the scarcity that we think we have is manufactured false scarcity by the companies. But anyway, that's another video for another day. So what's the take-home points here? The take-home points here is that football cards have come a long way. Another thing is that you can find value in any phase of football cards. Whether you like a team, whether you like a nation, you can go back and find something that quite often will retain its value, because a card from 1930 is going to have more value long-term than a card from 2023. It's just obvious, isn't it? Or is nobody understanding that? It's there in the pudding. At the start of the video, I said this was a history lesson. So how do we think that history lesson went?
Wow, you make history come alive.
Why, thank you. So that is why history is important. As collectors, we need to know the history, so we know where we're going, we know where we've been. My name's Jeremy. This has been Totally Football Cards. Yeah, buddy. Let's get it.